You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
As many dealers struggle to move EVs off the lot, Tim Hovik, dealer principal of Santan Ford in Arizona, is finding success. In fact, recently, he set a new national record for EV sales. Tim joins us now to share what's working for his store and also share his perspective on the EV market. Many dealers right now, Tim, are trying to figure out what to do with EVs. They can't get them off the back lot, and yet here you are out setting records. Talk to us about that.
Well, it's the car business. I think we're always trying to figure something out. We were an early adopter. I think we embraced the fact it's really just another powertrain. And really that's how we looked at it. We didn't look at it like it was a unicorn. We looked at it, Ford has freedom of choice. We've got gas vehicles, diesel vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and we've got electric vehicles. And I think approaching it again, that they're just part of our portfolio. Gave us a chance to be successful.
Sure. So to put things in perspective, if I've got my number right, it says you sold 137 new Ford EV SUVs and trucks and such for the month of August. Did I get that right?
You did get that right. Yeah,
Okay.
We set a goal going into the month. To our knowledge and what we've been told was no franchise dealer in the U.S. had ever sold 100 plus EVs in a month.
Wow.
And so you got to have a target. So we set it, and it was about 2/3 Mustang Mach-E and about a third F-150 Lightning.
Oh, wow.
But we did move some metal.
That's fantastic. So many dealers that are watching are probably saying, I hear what you're saying, Tim, that you got these different choices of vehicles, so do we, but we're not getting the consumers to be willing to get behind the wheel of an EV like you are. Was there anything different that you're doing? Were you having everybody test drive an EV before they looked at a nice vehicle, or?
No, I think what it comes down to, clearly in the last few years we've seen our industry change at a speed that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And really what we've tried to tell our sales associates and really kind of our entire team is that we need to be transportation experts.
Yeah.
That's really who we are. And consumers, they want us to be transportation experts. They want some help in trying to make a decision for what's right for them. And I think that approach is really where this industry is going and where dealers and associates need to go. I think we've always talked about building rapport and assessing the needs of our customers.
Yeah.
But assessing the needs of our customers has never been more important. The reality is we talk, and electric vehicles aren't for everybody, but for 15 to 20% of the population, they're a really good transportation solution. If you're a soccer mom and you never drive over 100 miles a day and you're going to just be running around town here and there, it's a tremendous option for you. That's really how we've approached it.
That's right. I saw a report recently that said less than 5% of all sales professionals in the industry drive EVs, and that could be one of the causes for the lack of EV sales, because the salespeople, we haven't won over the hearts and minds of many salespeople out there, so they kind of steer away from it. And do you think that's a real issue, that you've got to get those salespeople on board so that when a consumer comes in or calls or clicks, they start off by going, it's the greatest thing out there, you got to try it?
No, I think that's really fair. I think that's a super good point. At Santan in the month of August, we sold 25 to 30 of the EVs were to our people. That probably doubled how many we have in them.
Yeah.
So again, we're about in that national average now. We've got about 300 employees, and we have about 60 of our employees that are driving EVs. And to your point, it is important.
Yeah.
There's no better way to talk about something than if it's something that you use every day.
Right. That's right.
And I think that's one of the big things I think we'll see over the next 12 months. I think we'll see more dealer personnel that have those vehicles. And then I think from a public standpoint, we're already starting to see it. I think the natural progression in EVs is we're really going to start to see split garages.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to really start to see where people that have two vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to see one ICE and you're going to see one EV. I
Yeah.
think that'll be kind of the next transformation,
Yeah.
and we're really seeing that. We virtually haven't sold an EV to somebody who that's going to be their total solution. Both their vehicles are going to be EVs. It's always somebody who says, "Hey, we have this other vehicle.
Yeah.
That's the one we're going to take on vacation.
Sure.
That's the one we go on a 2,000-mile trip. But we always have a vehicle that really never leaves town, and we drive that around shorter distances." And I think that's really the evolution that we're going to see next, or split garages.
Yeah, very good point. What role do incentives like tax credits and dealer promotions and money on the hood from the manufacturer, what does all of that play in EV sales?
Well, I think it plays the same way, at least the manufacturer incentives play the same way as they play on all the other vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to something that we've talked about here. These things aren't unicorns.
Yeah.
They're just vehicles that have a different powertrain. I think the tax credits from the government,
Mm-hmm.
they've been maybe useful in at least getting it on the front of somebody's mind of,
Mm-hmm.
hey, let me look into that and see what there is.
Yeah.
Like most government programs, there's some complexities to them that, both I think the consumer and the dealer have had to work through.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no question the incentives help. And I think one of the things that we've started to see, if you go back and you look at the kind of the Teslas of the world,
Mm-hmm.
they have a very high percentage of leasing vehicles.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the franchise dealer network, that's where we've evolved a little bit. Our lease mix on the 100 plus that we sold in August was about 75%.
Wow.
And that's much higher
Yeah.
than a lease mix would be across our portfolio.
Sure.
And I think that's part of where the EV world will go.
Yeah. And that's great news as a dealer, because those customers are coming right back to your showroom, right?
I got 137 coming back in less than 3 years. I'm feeling pretty good about this.
That's exactly right. So what does this mean for your store that you broke this record? You got 137. Is this just the beginning? I mean, am I going to be visiting with you in a few months? Are you going to be going, I broke 200?
Well, we've already, it's like sports. They always say, hey, records are meant to be broken.
Sure.
And I already know a couple of other dealers that are going to take dead aim on seeing how they can get north of 100.
Right.
And certainly I think, the next milestone is going to be 200. And there'll probably be a time not too long from now that you and I are speaking in the next couple of years, and we'll say, hey, wow, somebody sold 300 EVs in a month.
Yeah.
I do think that's the trajectory.
Yeah.
But I know my team has a lot of pride because, as they say, only one can be first. And I spent last week back in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of meetings with Ford on a variety of subjects, many of them not related to this, but it was fun being back there because there wasn't anybody I talked to from the company. And I spoke with Jim Farley and I spoke with Bill Ford, and there wasn't anybody at the company who didn't mention how great they thought it was.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So it's fun, and the team's having a lot of fun with it.
Of course, you're the new poster child for EV sales. Look, everybody, it can be done, right? And that's great. That's great.
And the other thing I like to remind people is we're also number one in Raptor sales.
Okay.
We are truly freedom of choice. So
yeah, that's for
we're
sure.
really pleased to sell electric vehicles, but we're also really pleased to sell diesel vehicles. If you're looking for something, I just want to make sure you get it from us.
That's right. Hey, switching gears before I let you leave, and I appreciate all the time you've given me. Talk to me about the business as a whole. How are you doing out there? How's fixed ops? The rest of your sales going well?
Yeah, business is good. It's an interesting dynamic. I think all dealers are kind of trying to figure out, what is the new normal,
Yeah.
right? We had the COVID, then we had the chip crisis.
Yep.
As we settle in, we're back to a normal amount of inventory.
Okay.
The parts situation is normal. We're like, I think most dealers, we're at full capacity and then some in service. We've utilized, one of Ford's big initiatives over the last few years has been mobile service.
Yeah.
We've utilized that. We're actually number one in the nation in that. And that really is a big reason why is because we need to free up capacity in the shop.
Wow.
Anything we can go out and fix, smaller maintenance things.
Sure.
To give us some more capacity room in the shop, those are big advantages.
Yeah.
I think sales is solid.
Yeah.
We've seen it better, but boy, we sure seen it on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think that, the Fed lowering the interest rate last week, I think that's going to be useful.
Yep.
So much of I think consumers' buying habits. Obviously, we talk a lot about consumer confidence.
Yeah.
And as interest rates go down,
yeah,
they don't dramatically change anything for the consumer, but they are helpful. But they do, I think, put the consumer in a better place in their brain. I think
Right.
they think a little bit more positively about going and making a big purchase.
Yeah, consumer confidence jumps up with that news, right? To say, okay, things are at least headed in the right direction. If you think about it, just before that, they announced that the inflation rate is also down to, I think, 2.5% now. So I think people are starting to at least feel better, even though they might not be seeing it, in their everyday lives. Certainly, if you go to the grocery store, things are still high, but at least to your point, they are hearing it, that it's headed in the right direction, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think very much so. I think
Yeah.
consumer confidence, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this. We have this thing coming up in a few weeks called an election, and every now and then that
Really?
can have a little bit of an effect on people's thought process.
Oh, yeah.
So I think like most business people, not just in the auto industry, but most business people as a whole, I think we're certainly looking forward to let's have a great election.
Yep.
And whatever the outcome is,
Yep.
that's the outcome.
And
let's
just get it behind
forward,
us.
put it behind us.
Right.
And kind of election years historically in the auto industry, they've always been a little squirrely.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of a unique election, I guess you could probably understate. And so
think?
we're all looking forward to getting this one behind us, and let's move forward.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Well, the number one champ for EV sales and also mobile service. Congrats on that as well, Mr. Tim Hovick, dealer principal at Santan Ford out of Arizona. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a real treat, and I know a lot of dealers are going to be now emailing me or texting me saying, "What's the key to that deal?" Because we want to sell EVs. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.